Hello? 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 Let's see. We on?
Just my phone, my older phone.
No.
I'm looking for the phone.
Alright. Ooh, let me change that. Alright, hold on.
You're streaming right now?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, calling many times. I love you.
I love you more. Alright, we are here with DevDari 181, Natural Disasters. So I'm a little late to the party here. This came out on the 26th, I believe. Alright, let's see. Let's get into it. Hello. At Laycheck here to talk about new feature that will be coming with the whole world with all under heaven, but which will have a special impact on China, natural disasters. When considering the success rate of medieval rulers, we often consider how cleverly they played important factions against each other, how they picked the right time and place to lead their armies to victory, and in Crusader Kings terms, how they managed their dynasty's blood through setting up capable successors and arranging the right marriages. Alright, am I doing... Oh, there we go. Alright, so we good here. Am I being heard? It's a little hard to tell. Beep, beep, beep. Anyway, when considering the success rate, okay. So, when the unthinkable happens, will you be prepared or caught short? Will you be able to look after people with the selfless care of your crown demands, or will someone else swoop in and seize the opportunity to demonstrate their own benevolence? Will you stand tall, or will you have to cash in all your goodwill and sell your soul to restore control over your provinces? These are the signs of a skillful ruler. We're challenging you to display with the natural disasters feature. Looks like they got new illustrations coming out. That's good. Famously, the devastating Huangye Yellow River floods in the 11th and 12th century not only inflicted casualties to the tune of hundreds of thousands of lives lost, but also undermined the Song dynasty's ability to fund defenses against the Jurchen and Mongols. And the Huangye was not content with contributing only to the fall of the Song dynasty. In the 14th century, when China had fallen to the Mongols and was ruled by the Yuan dynasty, it flooded again, precipitating the famine and revolts that eventually gave rise to the Red Turban Rebellion and the subsequent rise of the Ming dynasty. The scope of devastation inflicted by floods and earthquakes upon China was enormous and directly tied to the people's view of how suited they were to hold the mandate of heaven. But calamity is indiscriminate. It can happen to anyone, anywhere. The Rhine flooded frequently, causing difficulty for local princes and townships in the Holy Roman Empire. The Aleppo earthquake of 1138, which may have claimed over 200,000 lives, weakened Muslim states in the Levant and served as a temporary boon for the Crusader states in the area, until the power vacuum paved the way for leaders like Nur ad-Din to emerge, who later became a central figure in the resisting the same European invaders. In designing this feature, we had to be careful to ensure that the natural disasters shake up the political landscape of the region appropriately while not punishing players caught up in it through no fault of their own. True, natural disasters are by their very nature random, and there's not much even the wisest ruler, particularly in medieval times, can do to stop an earthquake or flood from happening. To address this, we leaned into the governance aspect of natural disasters. How do you respond to a calamity occurring in your realm? To illustrate this, let me take you on a bit of a journey. The year is 1081, and Caliph al-Majid, the trickster, rules the Fatimid Sultanate, freshly crowned at a mere 34 years of age after the untimely death of his father. Claimed before his time by a mild tickle in his throat, Uh, all is well in the realm, were it not for my unceasing war against Emir Hussein, the priest-hater of the Hashemid Emirate, and his godless supporters. And the 627 issues Errorhoof is screaming about all on the debug build. Life is pretty good in Egypt under the circumstances. I see Glitterhoof down here. Yeah, the debug mode. Alright, shortly after coronation. The Nile is revered for its frequent flooding, but this year it's different. The waters don't stop rising. Something is amiss. Alright, here it looks like we got a... the water of Niles have risen above normal levels, causing the soil and the surrounding area to dampen, though it could be a good sign for harvest. The water continues to rise without rest. It would be wise to halt all construction in the region until the floodwaters have settled, and to ensure as many people as possible can reach safety. Event signaling the imminent flood of the Nile River. Okay. The river expands even beyond the floodplains, engulfing everything in its path. We know what's coming, but the as yet unwashed masses, by and large, do not yet. That's funny. A natural disaster is a type of situation, like the Great Steppe of Khans of the Steppe and Dynastic Cycle and Silk Road, also from All Under Heaven. Situations have participating characters, geographic regions, and can go through phases, each with their own effects and modifiers. I see that we're now in the warning phase of the disaster, which has no effect. This will soon change. The first warning signs appear. We can get a choice of waiting to see what happens or immediately devoting ourselves to addressing the calamity. If the disaster had affected our court, we'd also have an option to go isolation, though this would cost us dearly in the court of public opinion in the short term. It's better the ruler survives to see the disaster through to its conclusion than perish alongside his people, right? Right? Alright, so it looks like we got current phase, warning, phase effects, none. Okay. This got a little meter here. That's cool. 2 members of independent rulers. Let's see. Soon thereafter, the disaster reaches its impact phase. People at large now understand the terrible danger they're in. And who do they blame? You, of course. When impacts hit, you lose legitimacy. Usually the amount is bearable if you're a well-established ruler with a good track record. And the trust of the people? But me, a recently crowned caliph, who can't seem to wrap up a war against the priest-hater, it hurts. Note that this legitimacy war will be substantially higher if you're an emperor of China due to the entanglement between the warfare of the realm and the mandate of heaven. A flood or earthquake in China could be spun as proof of the dynasty's corruption. And the disaster strikes during a period of instability in the dynastic cycle. It hits even harder. So here we've got the impact. I'm guessing the next phase is recovery. Okay, and I can't exactly see what that is, but that's probably building time and building costs going up. Alright, so screenshot of the natural disaster. People will die. My half-brother, Prince Muammar, is among them. One less claimant to the throne, perhaps. I'm lucky to be alive. Oh, it shows you who all died. That's cool. Alright, it's like the plagues. Awesome. We should also give you, like, a counter. Like, 26 characters died. Names all of them. I think that would be pretty cool. Alright, an event showing a roster of dozens of characters who died in the latest flood event. Player may also die this way if they're not careful, but also given more of a chance to react in their final moments. Not only people, but the land itself will be affected. Hopefully the priest-hater isn't in a position to take advantage of this. Damage fortifications. Oh, okay, the garrison's down. And the fort level's down. Okay. Your counties will be affected by the many different consequences of the disaster. Exodus, holding taxes down 70%? Jesus. Is that, like, just everywhere on the Nile River? Well, you know, if they're going to depopulate or say that a realm is depopulated. They should make it easier to convert. Yeah. Oh yeah, development decline. Yeah. Jesus. Negative 1.2 a month. Okay, yeah, that's pretty harsh. An event showing holding taxes will be greatly reduced along with the continuous loss of development across the affected province. Modifiers are cleared after the recovery great project is completed. Finally, the worst is over. We are now entering a recovery phase. Okay, legitimacy is down. Governorship in disaster area. It's cheaper to revoke. Oh, okay, that's cool. We now enter the recovery phase where we can try to rebuild what was lost and restore the people's faith in your rule. But even the phase is not harmless. For every month we remain in disrepair, we lose more legitimacy. Okay, let's see. Panel 0.25 monthly loss of legitimacy applying to all affected rulers. Situation is resolved. In addition, governorships in affected area are cheaper to revoke during the recovery phase, letting an administrative ruler more readily manage their roster of governors to eliminate deadweight and elevate more promising ones. That is interesting, just taking advantage of this tragedy to revamp your government. I think is an interesting route to take. Definitely, for sure. The road to power's hearts is. Well, the road to people's hearts is paved with gold, of course. The more, the better. But it's not all doom and gloom. Once a great project is completed, not only will you remove most or all of the negative modifiers you suffered due to the disaster, but you'll also gain rewards for every contribution you made. In addition, for floods specifically, the affected provinces gain bonuses from the silt and moisture left behind. Flood fertility, development, and supply. Excellent. Okay, so this is the relief panel for the recovery. That's cool. I like that. Refugee resettlement, aids for victims, memorial fortification. Oh, okay, so these are optional. Gotcha. Land drainage. Yeesh. Okay. Yeah, there was 2 rulers, and they're both doing land drainage. Oh, that's interesting. It's the cheaper of the options. I understand. Screenshot showing. Oh, okay, they're poor. They can only do 316. So they've got less than 376, but more than 316. Okay. Screenshots showing the flood recovery great project with the 3 mandatory contributions required to construct alongside 3 optional ones. Each costs gold or treasury if you have it, and provides a number of possible benefits or rewards to the ruler who contribute to the project. The cost of each component of the restoration can be sizable and dependent primarily on the number of counties affected, their development, and the severity of the disaster. Ooh. Oh, India usually starts with pretty high development. I'm pretty sure India is just going to be screwed when it comes to recovery. Yeah, that's going to suck for India. And I guess China is going to be huge too. Their development is going to be pretty big as well. Yeah, it's just going to suck for East Asia, huh? All right, the cost of each component was okay. Now, 2 disasters will play out at the same time in this regard, so you might want to carefully consider which is best to do first, given the expense. Land drainage, for example, will tie up much of your army for 10 years, but will give you a permanent +10 direct vassal opinion boost as soon as you fund it. Permanent. Is that permanent, like game long permanent, or permanent as in character until death permanent kind of thing? The primary rewards in terms of legitimacy and learning experience in this case aren't gained until the whole project is completed. Meanwhile, survival recovery will give you a popular opinion boost upon taking it, but also tax burden to carry through the recovery efforts until the project is completed. Oh, okay. So definitely take that one last because, tax burdens. Optional contributions are not necessary to complete the project, but if you can afford them, they can give you much greater rewards. Resettling refugees requires you to give up some land until the project is complete, resulting in a reduced domain limit for characters of most cultures, but yields twice the legitimacy and levy reinforcements boost. All of these rewards and costs are scaled by innovations. Elephants make it easier to remove debris, for example, but of course, as time passes, so does development, and recovering from late-game natural disasters can be much more expensive, especially if you haven't kept up with your technological progresses. China starts with many relevant innovations to help it control disasters in 1066, while others will need time to catch up. Oh, are they going to revamp the tech? They would have to. Yeah, they would have to, or just add more stuff to the technologies, maybe. You know, if you're gonna require some technologies to do this faster, they're probably gonna have to add a little bit extra modifiers to the tech. All right. Oh, they use bison. Oh, I'm sorry. Anyway, it looks like they're using the plague mechanic a little bit, just reskinned for the flood. That's cool. All right, so damage, work, levy shortage, or drainage, work, levy shortage, effective disaster cleanup coordinator. Okay. 26 legitimacy, you gain 300 learning. Okay. Memorial fortifications would be cool. I kind of want to see what that does. The screenshot shows the effects of land drainage mandatory contribution, which costs 300 in this instance, and impose a 10-year-long levy reinforcement penalty on contributions. Also yields a positive vassal opinion modifier when the project is concluded. The ruler gains legitimacy and learning experience. Note, if the contributing character is not independent rule, they will benefit. Governors gain governor effectiveness experience, and characters in realms that use merit gain merit. Which means if you're a feudal vassal, you're screwed. Well, I mean, I guess you could gain legitimacy, but if you're like a count, there'd be like no reason to do this. If you cannot pay yourself, perhaps there are others who can. The Natural Disaster Recovery Project screen gives you insight into who else might be willing to foot the bill for a part of this project. And it also lets you try to convince them to do so. My vassal, Emir Hassan al-Dawala, for example, is on decent terms with me and might be willing to help me with the land drainage while I deal with the housing reconstruction. Can be convinced. Only in exchange for a strong hook, but that will do. At least he will suffer a 75% levy reinforcement rate for a while. So in the event he rises up against me, oh, that's interesting. Okay, yeah. So I guess if you got a strong hook, you could really keep your vassals in line. That'd be interesting. That's okay. She'll grow. All right. Let's see. Deep breath. All right. If he rises up against me, deep breath, grand. This is doable. It will be fine. Teamwork makes the dream work. Maybe in a few years I'll get another wealthy vassal who I could convince to handle the last part. Since this war against the Crusader is really taxing me. Oh, I forgot about that. Or maybe I could fabricate a hook on that wealthy nephew of mine who refuses to play ball. Though, if I could raise the cash myself somehow, I'm sure, could use the legitimacy to cement my rule once and for all. Natural disaster. Yeah, I wish it would show me all of them. Natural disasters will be displayed on map in two different ways. A map pin will appear on the disaster epicenter at quite generous zoom levels to let you easily spot them when they don't occur in your realm. Selecting the map pin will open the situation panel for disasters and will also display which counties are affected with a border. Terrain shaders will also be applied when zoomed in, so you can really feel the devastation. Here's where I would show you an epic screenshot, but these are currently getting their final touches applied after the recent map graphics upgrade, so you'll have to wait to see them in game. Natural disasters obviously do not care about realm borders. A flood will affect all counties adjacent to the river, and an earthquake can span counties in multiple realms. Where a single disaster overlaps many realms, a recovery project will be constructed in each. You only pay for the provinces in your realm, but it's also only those provinces that reap the benefits of your contribution. The disaster situation will disappear once the final recovery has been completed. Yeah, but I want to be able to. I'll finish this out. I'm almost done, and I'll give my thoughts. All right. Finally, let's talk about frequency and about China, of course. Natural disasters are a rare occurrence. You might play a full campaign and not be directly affected by one at all, even across centuries. To some degree, this also depends on the terrain in your realm and what part of the world you're playing in. Regions that are historically suffered earthquakes or floods during this era will have higher probability of being afflicted by one. When a region is afflicted, it is more likely to be centered in terrain suitable for that disaster. Mountainous regions will be more prone to suffer earthquakes, and provinces far from major rivers won't get flooded. That makes sense. However, quite naturally, the larger the realm, the larger the risk one part of it will be struck by a disaster at any given time. For a realm the size of China, the likelihood of having to deal with them is high. Thankfully, the emperor has access to two tools with this problem that most rulers don't. The imperial treasury, which can be used in place of gold to pay for the great projects, and a great many governors whose fat salaries should really be put to better use than improving their estates when the future of the realm is at risk. With the increased impact of legitimacy due to the unceasing turning of this dynastic cycle and the people's perception of how natural disasters are a sign from the heavens that change is needed, natural disasters could possibly break or make a Chinese dynasty. We'll hope you enjoy this opportunity to prove your benevolence as a ruler, or for a more cunning among you, use the upheaval to your advantage. Okay, so that last line, I hope is kind of like a sneaky preview of being able to undermine someone else's legitimacy by completing great projects for them. Say a natural disaster strikes, maybe some of it goes into your territory as well, or maybe it's just an adjacent territory. I would really like for rulers that are adjacent, have the ability to fund these great projects, given, say, a certain amount of time passes, like the ruler of that region doesn't get to it in time, that other rulers could use their money to fix whatever's going on at the cost of legitimacy and maybe some claims as well. Like, hey, I fixed the Rhine River while your lord couldn't. I have rightful claim to this. What has your lord ever done for you? That kind of deal. Like, I think that would be cool. Also, I know they're not going to do it because it'd be a Herculean task to do so. But now that they got natural disasters being thought about here, I really wish that provinces would be affected in the map model itself. Say, great flooding here in the Nile would expand the rivers, right? So you can actually see the flood happen if it's really big, right? Maybe it eats away at the coastline, something like that. And then modders would be able to have a field day with it by being able to straight up nearly delete provinces. I think would be cool. Because I've had thoughts about making a mod where if certain things were, like certain requirements were achieved, like certain parts of the map would either expand or diminish, like coastlines and stuff, or maybe terrain just gets completely altered, deforestation, that kind of deal. But that would be like in the modding community. It'd be cool. It'd be a really cool thought. And with this natural disasters being part of the mega DLC that's coming at the end of the year, I kind of really want that. Other thoughts? Let's see. It looks cool. I really wish. I mean, it's coming out soon, so I don't think that they're going to be working on the modifiers too much. I think they're kind of solid down now since it's got like little under 2 weeks till it's being released. It looks here like they're still working with images though. Shouldn't be too long. I might fix some modifiers, I guess. I really wish they would have showed us a few more of these modifiers. Like, I'm very interested in all of these. I think they just showed us land drainage, and they talked about, I think, refugee resettlement. I kind of want this one to be tied with, like a ruler with taking a hit to maybe not legitimacy, but public opinion in local provinces, be able to have faster conversion rates for culture and religion. In a province that's been struck by disaster, that's been depopulated. You know, I think that'd be a really good idea. But, you know, we're just gonna have to see. All right, well, I think that's it for now. Tune in next time. All right, ciao.